Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Antonio, and today I'm going to be taking you guys through a day in the life of somebody who's a college student about to graduate and is a full-time trader running two businesses within the trading niche. So obviously you take care of all the morning hygiene stuff, you go to war with the toilet, but let's actually go ahead and talk about what my morning looks like. First thing I do when I wake up is obviously brush my teeth like any normal human being, and then I will fire up the quantum computer, hop on live stream with the members and the overall team, and essentially scan the market and see if there's any setups potentially developing. All right, so I did end up taking 3 trades today, so I wanted to take the time to explain the thought process behind those executions and the execution criteria that I actually have for each of those trades. All right, ladies and gents, now that we're on the charts, let's go ahead and break down the thought process behind the trades that I took. So for the first trade, essentially right at open, right? What was I thinking? On the 15 minutes, we were essentially trending to the downside for the most part, right? Overall narrative is bearish, as we can clearly see. Going into New York Open, what I did take note of was the fact that we had taken out these major pools of liquidity. This sell side, this sell side, this sell side. We essentially taken out all these major external swing lows. In terms of areas of interest, what I was really taking a look at was this 15-minute bearish fair value gap, which we end up tapping into later and comes into play on the last 2 trades that I will talk about. So that is not necessary to really talk about right now. With that in mind, there's really nothing setting up between 9:30 and 11 for my entry model. And when that happens, what I'll do is I have a completely separate account that runs the 15-minute orb. If you guys are not familiar with what the 15-minute orb is essentially a strategy where you wait for the first 15 minutes of the market open to play out. You wait for that 15-minute candle to essentially print. You mark the high and low of that candle, and you essentially wait for a 5-minute candle closure above or below that high or low. Wait for a retest, and you take the entry in that direction. That is essentially the 15-minute. Or shout out Ism Trades, Isaac. He's a team member of mine within the Learn the Markets Discord community, and he trades live with us within the Discord every day, Monday through Friday. Okay. With that in mind, that's essentially the 15-minute orb, and that was the strategy behind the first trade that I ended up actually taking for the day. So wait for that first 15-minute candle to print. Let's go ahead. High, low. Sorry, let me go ahead and fix that right here. We have the high. We have the low of the candle. 5-minute. You wait for that candle closure above. Candle closes above. You wait for the retest. Go ahead and take entry. And I just target a 1-to-1 on this. Very simple, straightforward. Around 58 point stop, 58 point take profit. Absolutely smashes. Bang. That's the first trade of the day. And I will actually show you guys the trade of executions and the P&L, all this actual proof within the Discord community as soon as I'm done explaining that. Okay. So that's the first trade. Now, second trade. Going into 11, essentially when I'm getting ready to take off for the morning session, we trade up to that 15-minute bearish fair value gap. So this is around 1040 as we could see, 1030 now. Not only that, but we are also potentially tapping, while we're tapping into that 15-minute bearish fair value gap, we could be manipulating this high right here and all of these highs right here. So we have a potential 15-minute bearish fair value gap delivery with a manipulation of buy side. This is exquisite. If you guys have been watching my videos, specifically the last one, go watch that if you haven't. That is A++, or it's at least starting to look A++. Okay. So we have that. We tap into the bearish 15-minute fair value gap. What do I wait for? 1-minute break of structure to the downside below this previous high low. We get that. Bang. Third, final step. Retrace to area of interest. Inverse fair value gap right here that we had previously delivered from. That was a mistake. That is lower probability. Retest. Had my limit order right here. As soon as price action trades back into it, fills me. Bang. Put stops above essentially that swing high where we had tapped into that 15-minute bearish fair value gap. And what I was targeting first was this unfilled 5-minute fair value gap, the top of it for around a 1.3 RR. And then if we got a continuation past that, I would essentially just target essentially fading. Price action would fade this entire move right here, this entire move to the upside. As we can clearly see, that ends up not working. Get absolutely smoked on this trade. Third and final trade that we end up taking. Both of these, by the way, were on an eval account. Get absolutely smoked. Almost blow the eval on this trade right here. Third and final trade. Why was it taken on an eval? 12 p.m. If I'm going to trade in the afternoon, it has to be at 2 p.m. This was already, for me, just written off. I'm not risking a live account, a PA, no real money, like no shot. No shot. That's just immediately written off for me. But with that in mind, same thought process, same narrative behind this second trade, right? We were overall bearish. We did invalidate this 15-minute bearish fair value gap. But in my eyes, I still thought we could manipulate all these highs and deliver lower, okay? And have essentially that afternoon reversal to the downside. So what do? Wait for a 1-minute break of structure. As soon as we take out this previous high, we get the break of structure right here, but there's no real fair value gap or inverse that I'm really taking at this point. So I wait. We get a dirty continuation leg to the downside, takes out both of these, this previous higher low where we get the break of structure, and this lower low right here creates a 1-minute bearish fair value gap. Go ahead and take entry right there, ladies and gents. Play stops right above the previous external swing high on the 1-minute. And once again, targeting that unfilled 5-minute bullish FVG for a nice 1.92 risk to reward. But did it stop there, ladies and gents? No, it did not. This ended up running. I actually caught around 70 points on this, 77 points on this, but this ran to over 121 points. But shoulda, coulda, woulda. It doesn't matter. This was around $806 if I'm not mistaken. But these were the 3 trades that I ended up taking. Let me go ahead and showcase the proof and the executions for this. All right, guys. So I noticed as I was editing this day in the life that I never filmed the clip of the actual proof of the executions within the Discord. So I wanted to go ahead and actually showcase that before moving on. So this was the first trade that I mentioned with the orb, the long right here. Then this was the third trade setup right here, and then the actual second and third. So second setup right here, as you can see, this is where I get stopped out that first short, and then this ended up being the third trade right here for over 70 points. This was the thought process behind it, and then this is right here on trading. All right, so it's now 4 o'clock, and I actually have a workshop for school that I need to get done for some points. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. I'm actually in that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will check back with you guys later. So the workshop that I ended up having to attend was actually hosted by Blackstone, and I attend these periodically throughout the semester because it's a form of me essentially receiving credit and points for a class that I need to graduate this semester. All right, so I just wrapped up with trading and live streaming for the day. Also had that school workshop that I showed you guys. Finished that as well. Already took out the dog, and the only thing that is really left for me to do is to go ahead and go to the gym. I'm currently just getting some steps in, walking around my community, but it's 6 p.m. It is absolutely tragic that it is this late and I have not gone to the gym. Generally, and preferably, I like to go beforehand, before trading, and after trading, directly after. But this is just bad. But yeah, I'm going to be taking you guys through a day. What this looks like. I have a bunch of work that I need to get done beforehand, so I'll obviously showcase that and then tell you guys a little bit about myself, because I feel like social media tends to over glorify like the lifestyle of being in college, trading and having a business, running a business, yada yada, this that, when in reality it's just a lot of hard work, consistency, and discipline. So with that being said, I will catch you guys when I'm at the gym. Oh yeah, she's fine. The Batmobile. Yeah. All right, so I just got back from the gym. I couldn't really record because 1, the gym was disgustingly packed. I mean, who figured, right? It was 6 p.m. And then 2, my phone died. So I'm currently chefing up some dinner. Gonna cook up some rice, cook up some steak, and then just record some content, get some work done. And then I'll tell you guys a little bit more about the businesses that I actually run and what that kind of looks like. All right, now that I got dinner out of the way, I'm going to edit this video like I mentioned. This is going to go up on my Instagram tomorrow. I'm also going to make 3 more videos for Instagram for the weekend. I need to film a YouTube video. I need to hop on a quick call with Nardo, which is one of my team members for Learn the Markets. And I got to do a couple project management stuff on the Veritrade side of things, which is my fintech startup. And like I mentioned, I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about these things as the video continues. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and get cracking. All right, before I go ahead and give you guys a peek into what my actual workflow for the end of the day looks like, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about myself and what it is I actually do. Now, like I've mentioned throughout the video, I am currently a senior in college. I will be graduating this spring with an integrated business degree, which is just really a fancy name for a normal business degree. But I'm not going to bore you guys with all that academic school stuff because it's really not necessary. Let's actually get into the nitty-gritty things that you guys are all here for. Now, I've been trading for 5, almost 6 years, starting off with equities and then naturally gravitating into options like most of us did back in 2020 and 2021. And I was lucky enough to actually partake in the GameStop and AMC squeeze that happened in 2021. And that's essentially what gave me my capital to what I call paying my tuition to the markets and then actually learning for the following 2 to 3 years, which is essentially what I call my actual trading journey and when it actually began. Now, along this journey is when I actually ended up meeting my now business partner who was running Learn the Markets by himself, who was actually the creator of it back in around 2020 and 2021. At the time, I was actually a member of Learn the Markets, which had around 180 members, which were all getting mentored by Daniel and 2-3 other analysts. Fast forward to now, we've been actually able to work together for the past 4 years, and we relaunched Learn the Markets back in December of 2024, and we now been able to grow it to 400 members and a wonderful team of myself, Daniel, Bernardo, and Isaac. You guys are actually going to be able to see Nardo later on in this video since I have a call with him in about 30 minutes, but he's somebody that we've been working with for the past year. And Isaac actually started out as a member of Learn the Markets when Daniel was running it and when I was a member myself, and he was actually a sophomore in high school. Fast forward to now, he's a sophomore, junior in college, if I'm not mistaken, and he's now an LTM team member and actually working with us. All right, so you guys kind of have an idea now of my background into trading, how I actually got into it, how I met the people that I work with now, and what it is I actually do on the trading side of things with Learn the Markets and repping the red and green. Now, towards the end of last year, myself and my partner Daniel ended up launching a fintech startup within the trading niche, and we're currently doing our internal friends and family round for raising for the MVP. We were actually able to close out our first investor at a 7-figure valuation, and we have close to 6 figures within our investor pipeline that we're looking to close towards the end of March and April. All right, now you guys know a little bit more about myself and what it is I actually do, which was super important for me to tell you guys because I don't just want this channel to be all about my trading strategies, what are the concepts that I use. Some of that stuff gets kind of redundant, and I love offering free value. I'm going to continue to do that for you guys. But I also want to showcase my life, what it is I actually do, and show some of the background of what it is running these businesses and what it actually looks like. Because I know a ton of you guys are actually interested in, and I don't see a lot of this type of content being made, actually showing the background of what it takes running these styles of businesses within our vertical, within the trading niche. So you want to know what it actually takes to make content for the community, but for social media as well. This, my friends, copious amounts of hours behind the screen, copious amounts of hours of editing and clipping. All right, let's check how the funnel is doing. Yeah, it's performing pretty well. We have to continue to drip people through it. Our stats are looking good. I just got to figure out that problem as to like why not all of them are getting delivered or why certain people are receiving them and then not all of them. One of the other things that I know we had to get on is the guides that we're making, the free guides on our strategies. Have you started yours?
No. Wait, but what are you doing yours? Like,
I'm going to make use of the older guide and essentially just revamp it with the concept, because really the only thing that I need to add is fair value gaps, inverse fair value gaps, and then expand a little bit better on liquidity. Everything else is pretty much the same.
okay.
So what you guys are seeing right now is me absolutely rip it on ClickUp. I'm just updating one of the tasks that had to do with the strategy guide that we're making. It's an absolutely free guide that both me and Nardo are making for our own individual strategies that we're going to be giving away. So that's exactly what you guys see me do here, essentially updating the structure of it. If you're not familiar with what ClickUp is essentially a project management platform that we utilize to mass communicate, mass organize all of our tasks, content productions, and essentially meetings that we're having internally and also externally. So yeah, at the end, we only really need one then. It's essentially one set of a funnel site made up of 3 pages for goal high level. And we already talked about you having the capabilities of doing that custom HTML and CSS. So we're good on that end. So it's currently 12:54, almost 1 a.m. I did end up wrapping up my meeting with Nardo. We ended up having a spontaneous meeting with somebody that will be hopefully designing a go high level site template that we need done. But for now, all I really need to do is update this internal finance sheet, which you guys can't see, which is good that you guys can't see. And then lastly, I need to edit some videos, edit this video, put it together, which is going to be quite a task. Respect for the people that are vlogging and making this style of content days in the life every day, because I'm going to be real honest, this has been a pain in the ass to record. Like, this is hats off to you guys. Hats off to you guys. So I'm going to be signing off here real soon, but I will check in with you. Mama. I will check back in with you guys at the end. All right, ladies and gents, so it's currently 1:40 a.m. I'm essentially just going to get ready to wrap up the day. Wow, I look My bag, I look rough. I'm absolutely exhausted. But like I said, I'm gonna wrap up the day, brush my teeth, go to bed. But I'm gonna continue to make essentially these days in the life. I love making content like this because I'm essentially showcasing, right, kind of some of the behind the scenes, what it actually takes, the work that it goes in to running these two businesses within the same vertical, the trading niche. But with that being said, stay safe, stay blessed, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.